sends the principal over the deep end.
Irresponsible!
I was definitely shocked.
And the school finds itself floating in the middle of a media spotlight.
Take us through the event.
The fact that it was on the news was just bizarre.
We're making waves and headlines with this one right now on High School Stories, Scandals, Pranks, and Controversies.
Cameras over 500 times.
Always cheeky. That's Caleb, a crazy senior with tons of personality.
Caleb's crazy.
Caleb always wants to be center of attention. If you're around him, you know you're going to have a good time, and you're going to laugh a lot.
Oh, she digs it.
Caleb never treated anybody any different than he would his friends. He's just a real cool guy.
And that's Caleb's trusty sidekick, Brent, a.k.a. Shoe. He cracks everyone up, except the principal.
Granddaddy? Brent Schuler was definitely no stranger to the principal's office.
Brent Schuler.
He doesn't care what comes out of his mouth.
Smart mouth.
He'll just tell you how it is.
Do you understand?
We both are just looking to have a good time. That's why we love hanging out together.
With their senior year winding down, the Dukes of Plainfield were spinning their wheels, trying to figure out a way to leave a lasting impression on their school.
Okay, hey guys, what are we doing for our senior prank? Shu and I are dead set on doing a prank, but everyone's talking about the usual stuff.
Somebody wanted to put mice in the hallway. Somebody had the idea of putting crickets in lockers.
Someone wanted to bring a cow in or something like that.
And just some lame ideas, really.
It's got to be something more original, you know?
Yeah. What are we doing for the senior prank? For many senior class pranks, the whodunit is the best part. But Caleb and Brent weren't about to conceal their identity.
We weren't too worried about getting caught, and that's kind of part of it. You got to have witnesses to make it memorable.
And I was like, we should get a bunch of people to do it with us.
We thought there's power in numbers, and if we got a bunch of people, we couldn't get in that much trouble.
The more seniors in the mix, the funnier the trick. The guys needed a big crowd so they could pull off an even bigger prank.
Oh, wait. We have this glorified pool right in the middle of the school, and I was just like, what if we just have a pool party? We got half of the class to jump in the pool right in the middle of the day. That'd be hilarious.
That's a great idea.
Seriously, I was just thinking, let's not change or anything. I thought it'd be funny if we jump in all our regular clothes that we were wearing all day and then go to our next class soaking wet.
As a prank, it's hilarious because the pool's right in the middle of the school. It's like a main focus.
There's glass all the way around it, so you can just see what's going on in the pool.
That was the cool part because we knew everybody was going to see it. I think the pool idea is going to fly, man.
Everything was all set for a swimming success. Now the guys needed to make sure the seniors could get into the pool.
Every year, there's a swim week for the PE class, and this week was swim week. The doors are always unlocked that week. We wouldn't have to do anything really wrong. We would just be walking in.
We planned it for a Wednesday, so if they were going to suspend us for a couple days, it would make it an extra long weekend.
All right, let's get on it. The plan was set, and with swim week in full effect, it was time to spread the word to the senior class about their last splash.
We're going to jump in the pool for our fun, and everyone's going to be doing it. If you don't do it, you're going to miss out.
There was crowds of people that were talking about it.
It seemed like a funny thing, and it was a unique idea.
Nobody had ever done something like this before.
So the more we talked about it, it sounded like a pretty good prank.
You into it?
Go, man.
It felt like for sure 10 or 15 people were going to do it.
So you guys are definitely jumping in?
Yeah.
While many of the seniors wanted to get soaked, one of them was content to stay dry, documenting the big day from the sidelines.
When I first heard about the prank, I knew there was no way that I was going to participate in that. But it was a great opportunity, though, to cover a story.
Meet Jason, editor-in-chief of the school newspaper, the Quaker Shaker.
Journalism was my main interest and what I devoted most of my time to. I just always thought it was exciting.
His job is to report the news, and what bigger story could you possibly choose than the senior prank?
Well, I think it'd be great if we took pictures and tried to cover it as a story.
After some last-minute checks at the school, Brent and Caleb had one final meeting.
The day before the big jump, Shu and I met up again to go over the details. It almost felt like a military operation. Time is of the essence.
The plan was to meet in the boys' locker room.
So after fourth period, the bell rings for lunch. We just got to head out there. We were meticulous. You know, we were ready to do it.
The night before, we were all getting really excited.
It was kind of hard to sleep that night. You just knew it was all going to go down the next day.
It was one of the few times I was looking forward to going to school.
With D-Day, or should I say Dive Day, upon them, the leaders of the pack knew they had a posse of pool-bound seniors backing them up.
We were nervous, but there's definitely a good vibe.
You in?
Yeah, I'm in. Are you jumping in? Oh, no. Pictures.
Every period felt like a day. It just seemed like it took forever.
There was pretty much countdown to swim time. We're watching the clock the whole time.
I had no idea what I was taught that day.
I didn't hear a word the teachers were saying. I just heard wah, 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 wah.
Sue and I were making a lot of swimming-related jokes.
Caleb's giving people the swim signal. It's time to get in there and go.
Coming up, will the senior class pool party make a splash with the administration?
The principal was really upset. I'd say nothing short of outrage.
Sebastian has to suffer for his art.
Definitely felt like slow motion. You could hear the Chariots of Fire music kicking. Right as I was like above the water looking down, it just felt like time had froze.
With that, the pool party prank was on. And within seconds, the previously pristine pool turned into a sea of seniors.
When I came up, I just looked up and it seemed like 50 people into the pool, and there's more people coming too.
People just pouring in, piling in on top of each other.
And there were more people than I could have hoped for to take pictures of.
We held hands, and we just jumped in.
Cannonballs, can openers. It was your moment to shine, so everyone's doing their own little thing.
Every window that surrounds the pool was crowded with people.
People were pressed up against the glass.
They're just yelling and screaming and cheering you on.
I'm like, yeah, this is awesome.
Out of the corner of my eye, I see Jason, and he's in full media coverage mode. He was having a heyday taking pictures.
The whole prank happened so quickly. I didn't think about anything except for taking as many pictures as I could.
We just had to sit back and go, wow, we actually did it.
It just seemed so surreal.
It kind of had that teen movie type moment.
The seniors may have been the ones in the pool, but it was the school's administration that was all wet.
You out of the pool!
All of a sudden, I seen the administration walk in.
It was like the party's over.
And we were about to get in trouble.
Pretty much the whole faculty was down there within minutes.
Go! Get back to class now!
The principal was really upset and frustrated. I'd say nothing short of outraged.
His face was beat red, redder than my house. He was going wild.
Principal asked to see my camera. I told him that I was taking pictures. I was a student reporter. He said it was the school's camera, so he had every right to take it.
Jason was in disbelief. Like, did you seriously just take my camera?
He was yelling at Jason as if you instigated the whole prank.
It was hilarious watching them deal with it.
The frustrated faculty finally got the soggy seniors out of the pool and took down the names of every waterlogged wrongdoer.
They were yelling at us, get over here right now, get in line.
I can't believe that you would do something like this.
We were all lined up, freezing, shivering.
Give him your name. Step up.
It was pretty much, give me your name, and then go back to class. Give me your name, go to class.
Brent Schiller. Everyone just went back to class soaking wet. There's like 30 kids walking around school, dripping water everywhere we went.
I just remember turning around and seeing a whole trail of water behind me from the pool.
We took the scenic route. We wanted everybody to know that we did it. When I walked into class, everybody just started clapping and laughing.
The teacher just rolls her eyes at me. She wanted me to change, but I just told her I didn't have any other clothes. So I sat down soaking wet. The water's just squishing and dripping everywhere.
Once the soaking seniors settled in their seats, talk of the prank flooded the school.
Well, did you girls have a nice swimming lesson?
This chaotic feeling came over the entire school. Everyone was just talking about it.
And they thought it was just pretty insane that we actually did go through with it.
Everyone was laughing like, oh my gosh, what happened? Are you getting in trouble?
Were the seniors in deep water? Before the pool partiers even had time to drip dry, they got the answer to that question.
I'd like to see Tiffany and Brent at the principal's office, please.
I was probably in class about 10 minutes, and then we got a little note to come to the principal's office.
Come with me.
Oh, they're busted.
When we went down there was a whole group of people in there.
I didn't know why I was called down to the office. I didn't jump in. The only reason I was there was to take pictures.
We were all just looking at each other like, okay, what's he gonna give us?
The principal's seeing his office now.
We sat down and we could tell that they meant business.
Irresponsible. Disruptive.
The principal told us about how disruptive the prank was, how dangerous it could have been.
What you did was dangerous.
But they kept playing up these scenarios that could have happened to hammer home how irresponsible they thought we were.
He was like, do you know people could have got hurt?
Somebody could have drowned.
They were making a big deal about it. I mean, who hasn't jumped into a pool before?
Unsafe.
He's just throwing all these bizarre things out there. The principal even said, what if the glass caved in and all these kids fell down and died?
Stop laughing!
As the principal hammered home his point, the seniors realized their swim stunt was going to have serious consequences.
He said, now we're gonna have to set an example for the younger classes. I was like, oh no.
I began to worry that there might be some penalty involved.
We might not get to walk with our graduating class.
I could be getting expelled.
I was definitely shocked. I couldn't believe the day we were making such a huge deal out of it.
I was worried. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Coming up, will the senior class pull pranks to stay afloat?
We didn't think that they would be that harsh on us.
It was trespassing.
Or will the crew find itself sunk in uncharted waters?
It really blew up everywhere.
You'll find out next on High School Stories, Scandals, Pranks, and Controversies.
Scandals, pranks, and controversies.
When we left our senior class of pool hoppers, they were all hoping to swim off into the sunset with minimal punishment, but those plans dried up quicker than those clothes. And now the principal is set to rain on their parade.
Stop laughing!
I knew that as strict as Plainfield was, that the prank would have some repercussions.
It was trespassing.
I just assumed that we would get suspended for a day, possibly 2 days.
I mean, fighting gets a one-day suspension, so I thought that maybe that would get us detention or a Saturday school.
And then they start talking about the punishment.
I have no other choice but to give you all a 5-day suspension.
I was like, shut up.
We didn't think that they would be that harsh on us.
And Jason is like, wait, are you talking to me too?
I didn't even jump in the pool. I was in shock. I didn't think that I would be penalized for anything.
He was doing his job. He wasn't provoking us in any way.
You were part of the problem.
He's technically a journalist for the school papers, so he had every right to be in there taking pictures.
Now, I would like you all to call your parents. And I don't want to see any of you on campus for the next 5 days.
Hey, Mom?
I've got some bad news. My parents were pretty stunned.
My mom was pretty pissed at the school that they were taking it that far. Yeah, I know, it's stupid. She thought it was harmless and funny.
It was no secret that a lot of the parents were really upset that the punishment was that harsh.
And while the suspended seniors were calling their moms and dads to deliver the bad news, Jason sought the advice of his newspaper teacher.
I was suspended for 5 days.
What?
She was very angry with the administration for confiscating the camera.
He took your camera?
And for not respecting what the student journalist was trying to do.
He can't do that.
She told me that she was gonna try to get my suspension revoked.
Well, don't you worry. I will talk to them.
But for now, Jason was stuck with the suspension alongside the others. And that really got the student body worked up.
Never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined Jason being punished with the rest of the students.
I was dumbfounded. He was being punished for reporting the news.
I was just doing what I was taught to do as a student journalist.
So that became the episode. It was Jason versus the administration.
By the next day, the school was drowning in a media storm.
26 students began serving a 5-day suspension.
So all of a sudden became this huge spectacle.
They took a plunge that got them kicked out of school.
I couldn't believe that something as stupid as this was going to be a big story.
It really blew up everywhere.
Pull a prank and pay the price.
Or, in Jason's case, take a snapshot and pay the price.
ask you a few questions.
And I was contacted by local news stations and papers and magazines.
Take us through the event itself.
I think a lot of journalists latched onto the story as a First Amendment rights issue.
Do you feel like your First Amendment rights have been violated by this?
They just wanted to hear my story, that I was a student journalist taking pictures of this prank, not intending to jump in, and that I still was suspended.
And while the media created a stir in the papers and on TV, the students of Plainfield High were stirring up the protest pot.
The next day, students were protesting the suspension.
There's this whole movement, justice for Jason.
Everybody was supporting him.
It was neat to see the senior class come together in support of Jason because we all believed that this punishment was kind of silly.
I was really happy and excited that people agreed with me and thought the school was in the wrong.
After 2 days of media maelstrom and several student protests, the principal finally agreed to meet with Jason.
My journalism advisor was successful in setting up a conference with me and my mother. They accused me of instigating the prank.
I believe that because you were in the pool area, that things happened differently than they would have happened had you not been there.
I told them that it was an infringement of my rights as a student journalist and that the only intent I had was to take pictures and to cover a story.
He was just doing what he thought he was supposed to do.
By meeting's end, the principal had come to a decision.
I'll tell you what, Jason.
The administration agreed to lessen my suspension to 2 days.
But I want you to write a paper for me on the differences between professional journalistic rights and student journalistic rights.
When I wrote the paper, I did learn that student journalists didn't really fall under the First Amendment because we were governed by a state-funded school who could censor us if they wanted to.
You see yourself? Right here.
So with everyone clear that student journalists fall outside First Amendment protection, our pool jumping leaders have one major regret.
The one thing that did suck was just that Jason got in trouble, and he really didn't do anything wrong. So looking back, I kind of feel bad about that.
Even though I got penalized, I still don't regret it, and I would do it again. It was just a great way to end my senior year.
And the pranksters at Plainfield High agree. The class of 2002 senior prank was a splashing success.
It all went down great. It was perfect.
It's amazing to me that a whole group of very different people bonded to pull a prank. This is something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
They'll always remember the class of 2002 because we were the ones that jumped in the pool.
It was absolutely the highlight of my high school career.
Yeah!